You know what's interesting? My physique was the number one thing, the first thing that I ever did tangibly to make a transformation in my life. That was the first ever transformation that I started. Now, the interesting part about this is I didn't realize that I had to make a mental transformation before I even made the physical transformation. It was something that kind of ran behind closed doors, behind my own conscious mind. I didn't even realize my act of commitment, my act of actually learning and training my body came from me solidifying my mindset to say, okay, look, this is what I'm going to go do. Now, the interesting part about this is as I moved forward, as I kept growing and I kept building and I made this transformation and I started to get attention, I started to get all these things, my status started to rise, especially in the college that I was at, in society in general, people started to take notice. I started to make that my identity. I became the jacked guy. Interesting, right? I became that guy where that's all I talked about. That's all people knew me for, right? And that's what a lot of guys start to do when they cling on to a certain level of transformation that they've made. Some people make a monetary transformation first. They start making money out of thin air. And now all of a sudden they become the money guy and all they talk about is business. All they know is LTV. All they know is CAC. All they know is all of these different terms of business and they can't talk about anything else and they've made it their entire identity. Now, what I want to tell you, especially with physical transformations, because a lot of you guys have either made a physical transformation or you're in the process of making a physical transformation, that is identity leverage. It's not your identity. It shouldn't be your identity. If it's your identity, good luck in this world, because this world belongs to multidimensional men. It belongs to men who are multidimensionally jacked, not just physically jacked. That's one thing. You got to have all of the other areas to allow for that to exemplify you. It literally is a leverage point. It's something that can scale you out in terms of value. Whatever internal value you have, whatever skills that you've learned, it just amplifies it. That's all it does. And the problem is a lot of people don't have that internal value, so they make their value based on the external, which for you might be your physique, or it may even be money, or it may be whatever it is. Maybe you have all these women, whatever, that becomes your value. You become the playboy, you become this, you become that. That becomes your identity. And now you're empty inside and you can't move forward in other aspects of life. So what I learned the most when it came to my physique was, okay, well, now that you have this, that's your billboard. Now, when people look at you, because your self, your whole self is like a funnel. Top of funnel is how you look. Middle of funnel is how you think. Bottom of funnel is how you operate, right? All three of those. Now, most people stay stuck at the top. How I look looks maximum. They make this physical transformation. They look different, all of this stuff. But then when you have a conversation with them, you're like, I just talked to a fucking brick wall. Like I literally talked to a brick wall. What's going on? And you wonder why that happens, right? And some of you may be stuck in that phase where you thought that, okay, I got jacked and like nobody cares. Nobody's congratulating me because nobody cares. There's nothing else to you. There's nothing else that people would want from you. The only thing that they'd probably want from you is fitness advice. And you can't even give that because you can't talk to people. I see a lot of guys online that are trying to be fitness coaches and they can't even be charismatic enough to have somebody even interested in some boring shit like fitness. Yes, fitness is boring. It's a very boring topic. Cut and dry. When you talk about macros, when you talk about caloric deficit and all this shit, it's fucking boring. I had to study all this stuff when I got my personal training certification from NASM. I had to learn all this shit. It was boring as fuck. But I had to learn persuasion. I had to learn human nature. I had to learn all of these things so that I could make it interesting to other people, interesting to the clients that I got at the gym. And it was the same with business. I could make my physique something that's interesting that would be able to amplify me in business as well. Because not only was I jacked, but I could also start to speak very well. So I started to look at myself as a whole identity, and being jacked was one portion of it. And then I started to improve all those other areas, my communication, my charisma, my mindset, right? Even going further than the physical, now being disciplined in other areas of life. Started to improve everything, intersexual dynamics, understanding women, understanding all of these things, understanding the psychology of women, understanding the psychology of buyers, understanding business at a higher level, trying different businesses. I stopped training at the gym so that I could get into tech, just so I could expand my identity. And I finally realized that, wait, your physique, something that you now have a system for, that you don't even need to focus on too much. You don't need to focus on that. See, a lot of guys, what they do, because you have to understand, life is almost like feedback loops, right? It's like a series of feedback loops. So let's say you're rising up, you're learning, you're improving. You finally get to that ideal point. Then you make that loop, you close the loop, which means you've now have had a system for that. But a lot of people, they stay here and they keep rotating. They keep rotating. They try to refine the system, make it better. And they over index on that thing. And they don't move on to the next thing, the next battle, the next arena, business maybe, right? To go learn, okay, what do I need to learn about business? What do I need to learn about marketing? What do I need to learn about sales? What do I need to learn about fulfillment? What do I need to learn about scaling? Boom, now you have a system, loop. And some people, they stay in that realm and they don't go past, okay, now I need to grow my social presence, who I know, my network. Okay, now I got to learn people. I got to learn incentives, aligned incentives. I have to learn leverage. I have to learn all these different things. I have to learn how to actually like brand myself correctly so that people actually want to be around me. Boom. And then you loop that. And some people just stay there and they keep looping. And that's what makes you feel empty, because you know that there's another loop that you need to go to, but you stick with that one thing. The reason why I started with the physical part at the bottom is because that's the first foundational transformation that you can make that's tangible. And then you have to move forward beyond that. And some people like myself decided to use that as a business at a certain point, where I teach people how to actually get in shape. Because why? I got in shape. I had the roadmap. I know exactly what to do. I know all the ins and outs of that shit. But then I was like, no, fuck it. I want to go into social media. Boom. Now I learned that. I learned the systems of how to actually grow, which you've seen on YouTube. You've seen shit. If you follow me on Instagram, you see the same thing. I can blow up on Instagram whenever I want. Whenever. Right? I just have to make that decision because I know what it takes to do that. And sometimes mentally, it can be draining. It's the same with YouTube. So I know what it takes to blow up on YouTube, but mentally it gets draining to talk to the monkey brain. Because that's what it is talking to the monkey brain. In social interactions, you have to talk to the monkey brain. I just gave you guys just a piece of game in terms of human behavior. But the monkey brain is basically sex, money, jacked. 3 things everybody wants, right? But they never say it. They think it's too simplistic. But I learned all these things. My physique is just the billboard. It's just the piece of concrete evidence that you can see. My external successes, I don't flash money. I don't flash car. I don't flash designer. I don't do any of that stuff. If I did, that would basically be to trigger to the chimp brain that, well, I've become financially successful. But I don't necessarily care to do that. At this point in time, I don't. Because I know freedom is more important than just having money, because you can have money and still be stuck. But I go on a tangent. My whole point around this video is to tell you that your physique is identity leverage. It's nothing else besides that. And you shouldn't think about it as anything else besides that. If you start to think about it as more than that, it's because you're stuck wanting to stay in the same place and wanting to loop around that achievement and make it your entire identity because you're afraid to take the next step. You're afraid, okay, now I got to go make money on my own, not at my 9-to-5 job. Well, shit, now I got to go talk to women. I can't just be jacked and walk around and think women are just going to talk to me all the time. I have to be charismatic. You have to start thinking about this shit. And then as you start thinking about this, everything gets a lot easier. Now you start to take on bigger missions. You start to do bigger things. And people do start to recognize you at that point because they're like, you're not just that. I've been invited to podcasts. I've done all these things. And for the people who think I always lie about this shit, just look it up. Go on Spotify, type my name in. You might be able to see some podcasts that I've been featured in. I got invited to podcasts not because I was jacked, but because I had all of these other life experiences that I chose to go through after I got jacked. And that was just an amplifier, because when people see that, they're like, this guy has mastered the physical side. I wonder what else he's mastered. And then they see your body of work and then they want to know you more. It's the same on social media. If I came on here and all I did was talk about macros, all I did was talk about physique, all I did was talk about the shit that you see a lot of these creators who are jacked talking about, you wouldn't keep watching me. I would have stayed stuck at 20,000 subscribers easily. But because I expanded, because I started talking about other things, and I will continuously talk about other things because I'm not just one thing, multidimensionally jacked, right? More people will want to tune in because it's interesting. You have to become interesting. You can't be just, I'm jacked. Oh yeah, I'm jacked. I made it. No. And this is why, yes, my video, Getting Jacked Will Change Your Life, went viral. And a lot of people were parroting that same exact thing. But at the end of the day, there was a big truth to that. But what I didn't explain, because it was like a 5-minute video, is you need to develop the other sides of you. This is why I create courses. I know a lot of people are like, you're a course guru. I can't believe you're selling courses. Oh, like I thought you were better than this. I am. I'm better than courses, but that's what my audience wants. I mean, clearly, you guys buy it. You guys get value from it. You tell me that shit in the DMs privately. Some of you guys leave testimonials. Some of you guys tell me testimonials and shit like that. It's cool. But I understand the value of learning other things. I had my fitness coaching program. I stopped doing that because I was like, okay, well, there's more to this. There's more that people need to learn. Getting in shape is fucking easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. That's why I made it into literally my Jacked Protocol book, because I'm like, well, if you know all of these things and you just put in the work, you're going to get the results. That's why. There's other things that require higher touch points than that. It's fucking easy. It's boring after a certain point. Does it make a big impact in people's lives? Absolutely. But the only difference between someone who's skinny and scrawny or fat and out of shape and somebody who's jacked is just discipline and just applying what they know on a day-to-day basis. That's it. But when it comes to deeper things, it requires a certain level of understanding. You know what I mean? So I say all this to say, like, it's really important for you guys to understand that your physique is just leverage. It's just a leverage point. It's just an addition. It's like when you have a business and you start running ads. Your business is not running ads. Your business is the product that you have as the business, or the service that you have as the business. The ads are just for leverage. They're just to reach more people. They're just to get more attention. Your physique is just to get more attention in what it is that you want, because in life, to get what it is that you want, people need to know who you are and know what it is that you have to offer so that they can give you what it is that you want. Women have to notice you so that you don't have to be randomly walking over and trying to convince yourself to a woman. So they have to notice you in a certain way, and the best way is to get in physical shape. In business, the way that people notice you is how you present yourself. If you command the room and you look a certain way and you have broad shoulders, you have really, really, good delts, you have really, really good shape, you have that that high status physique, like I usually say, you'll get noticed. And then people want to know more about you. So it's literally just running ads. That's all building your physique is. It's just running ads to scale you out so that you can get noticed by more people, so people can know who you truly are. Because here's the reality. Everyone has a monkey brain. I have a monkey brain. It's not an insult. You have a monkey brain. Everybody has a monkey brain. You have to be able to touch on that monkey brain. The monkey brain is getting jacked, sex, and making money. Those are the three things the monkey brain cares about. Now, when you talk about like spirituality, all that shit is like in the ether down there. Like, very few people give a fuck about that stuff, to be entirely honest with you. Very few people genuinely give a fuck about that. The only people who do are the people who've gotten all three. They have sex consistently. They have the physique that they want. And they have all the money that they want. Well, now, okay, the other thing, now I got to understand the universe and shit, because there's more to it than this. That's top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But most people, their monkey brain reacts to that shit. So you got to be able to attack that first so that you can hijack the mind and get to where you want to be. It's that simple. So I hope this video was valuable for you, gave you some insights. If you want to take your life to the next level, you want to take that next step and work with me one-on-one, again, you can do that. I know I've been pushing that shit aggressively in other videos. It's just a test. It's just running different experiments, see how people react. But if you're interested in doing that, no pressure, no gun to your head to work with me, no gun to your head to buy any courses I have. That shit's just there for if you need it. Because I can't help hundreds of thousands of people at once. I really can't do that shit. That's how many people I reach every month. Can't do that. So the best thing I can do is clone my knowledge and give you pieces of it. Or if you want access to me, you can hit me up and we can do that. But you're always going to get these videos. And if these videos don't change your life, I don't know what will. But I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video.